Accept your death.
So my new thing, for anyone that's like been on my streams or knows me or whatnot, knows that I am a connoisseur of pop music. I specifically like Ariana Grande, but I'll listen to anything that's like kind of upbeat and poppy. And there's this new thing that I saw, a girl named Sophie Powers, and she had this song on American Idol, and it was just the funniest thing. She comes up there, and she immediately tells the judges like, this is gonna be a bit of a tearjerker, and they're all getting ready, and then
it's gonna be Unbreak My Heart or something.
Yeah, like it's gonna be something like really passionate and whatnot, which I guess it kind of was, but I can't really say the actual words of the song because YouTube will demonetize it if I do it in the first. But it's just like a string of things. It's like Karens, shut up, babies, shut up, vegans, shut up. It goes on to like dinosaurs, shut up. And it's just like this pop song with this, and then she goes into this very like monologue thing about I had a pet lizard named George, but he made me bored, so I gave him to my mom. I don't know. It's been my new thing. I've really been enjoying it, and that's just you ever like find like some new music, and then you just like you gotta like either gotta binge it or you gotta go through like their whole like albums and that kind of thing. I know that you're pretty heavy into the music as a serious hobby there, hater, so I'm sure you could relate to some kind of music.
Sure.
Black hole.
I mean, everyone's wired a little bit different, right? You can't help what you like. You don't choose what foods taste good to you. It either tastes good or it doesn't. I feel the same way about music, and sometimes things just strike you the right way.
Yeah, it's a good feeling, And then I've been known to listen to like one song on repeat for like an hour at a time if I enjoy it. Just vibing out, just really like feeling the songs, Music is something that really connects people in a way that other things not really can,
And music is definitely like a gateway to like, the soul, metaphorical or like whatever. I don't think anything can do it like it. It's like a very specific sort of catalyst, like expression and the way that it's received. I don't think things like really, music can carry a lot of emotion, or just a meme make a meme more catchy.
One of the things that I remember seeing is like it was like scenes from horror movies, but they took out the background music, and it's like almost comedic without that music in there. It's quite funny.
So there was like a series, like a kind of a trend that was going on in like the 2010s where people would take the trailer of a horror movie, like The Shining or something, but then they make it just by choosing the music and editing the scenes and stuff. It's like, The Shining is a romantic comedy, and it's like, Salisbury Hill by Peter Frampton playing in the background. And oh, dude, that shit's so funny.
Oh man, I love that. I love the stuff like that. It's so people get so creative with that kind of stuff too, right? So it's entertaining to see. But you guys can get really creative with the comments, which you did last week. Hey,
you're as good of a transitionist as you are at you're good at self-censoring. I noticed earlier. Sounded like it was truly edited, but in real time.
Hey, I've practiced that for hours before our call.
Did you?
That's not true. That was very much a last-minute decision. But hey, it worked out. So we got this comment here from Vision 8. A longer comment, so I'm just going to leave it on the screen here. We're basically talking about why are we complaining about Janet and getting more combos and stuff like that. And my opinion on this is kind of like I kind of agree with the Gento stuff. Like learning Gento is super impressive, and if you can see those kind of combos, like those are cool. Those are fun to watch. I appreciate that. But like the 3 punches thing is it's just bland. Like I'm all for getting more combos, but I feel the same way about Movado. Like a sweep, Ghostface sweep into Movado full combo. Movado is a little bit more of an intense kind of opinion from me because it's just like you input him and he comes out or he doesn't. At least Janet, you have to commit to it. So I guess there's that. But I don't know. Getting more combos is always good, I suppose. But I just find the 3 punches is just. It's just boring. It's just like over and over again. That's what every character does. So, what do you think, there, hater?
I have something to say about the comment and something to say about Janet.
Oh.
This is like literally my favorite type of comment that we get on YouTube videos. Like comments that aren't calling us idiots, but also aren't just like, like they're kind of like, what are you guys even talking about? Or like, I don't understand the complaints or whatever. I like it. I think it brings up good discussion, good opportunities for discussion, and more nuance of that. Right? I feel like I complain about Janet in the same way I complain about Shang. It's just okay. I got opened up, and now I'm in 45 seconds of ground fireballs or whatever. And it's the same thing with punches. It just gets kind of like watered down for me. It's not so much. It is kind of annoying, like being in the Ermac matchup and literally any armor, any throw, anything, any touch. But that's just kind of like what the game is. And Janet has got to be. I don't know if this is true because I haven't gone through all of them, but it just seems like on the surface that she's the most resource efficient when it comes to stuff like that. Like she's always available. The jump punches come back so fast, and you get to choose whether to do 2 or 3 and things like that. Kind of like conserve it and stuff. But again, like I don't feel like my kind of like bitch session about her was anything deeper than, like I said, like what I would say about ground fireballs and plenty of other things in this game where it's like, okay, like, Cyrax bomb loops and things like that.
Right.
Like, here we go. Here's the next minute of my life.
Yeah. It's like anything, right? Like it just stops you from playing the game. It's for a certain amount of time, like Sento being out or something like that. So it's kind of how I feel as well. It's just, I don't know.
It does take execution, right? But it's learned like anything else, and I guarantee you, like it takes some execution, and there is a little bit of a learn curve. But once you kind of like have it, like the execution, like once that becomes muscle memory, that's a non-factor.
Yeah, that's true. Once you kind of get it down, like any combo, I mean, I'm sure there's some tight links and things, 1 frame links or whatever, that kind of thing. But I mean, practice makes perfect, right? And
right.
Good on you for practicing. So thought we should.
So yeah, good comment.
Very good comment. Like like to hear the people kind of pushing back on our thoughts, and people can have different opinions on things. That's the joy of fighting games. It's all sorts of different ways to play them and different ways to theory craft them and all that kind of stuff. So appreciate comments like that. Moving on to the next one here. Cons TV says, Dink, why does Shang have that headset in the thumbnail? And I chose this comment because I'm surprised that it took this long for someone to actually comment on that. But that was actually a creative direction by Hater, who made the border for the podcast. So maybe
I made the thumbnail.
You want to give your thoughts on why Shang has that little cat ears headset on?
I don't know. It's not. There's no rhyme or reason. Like if you know me, like people that are friends with me, they probably just understand. It's kind of just my sense of humor, kind of random and kind of whatever. It is just funny thinking about Shang Tsung wearing cat ear headset, like and you see that in TV and other things. It's just the idea of it's funny, and I just something makes me laugh, and I'll just go with it. If it makes somebody else laugh, then it's like okay. But the idea was that Quan, it's not like Quan and Shang Tsung, like you pair them together, right? The sorcerer pair and like both of your mains, but it's not like they have the same gear. Like they both have different headsets and they both have different they're both holding different style microphones and stuff. So I just knew that I needed something that wasn't like a regular headset. And while I was looking, I saw pink cat ears and I was like, that would be fucking funny. So.
It is. I remember you showing me like the prototype and being like, what do you think of this? And I was like, I love that. Let's keep that. That's great. That's fantastic.
That's usually how it goes. Like I'm amused by this, but I don't know if anybody else will be.
Yeah. I greenlit that right away. I just thought it was same idea. Like especially like the character of Shang Tsung, like how like serious he is and whatnot, and just sitting there with cat ear headphones is very funny. So,
oh my gosh!
Hopefully, y'all get as much enjoyment out of it as I do every time that I'm throwing that thumbnail together. So, good job there, Hater. That was a W decision for sure.
Hey, thanks.
Last comment here from Laura, talking about how Quan didn't get anything this patch, and maybe he could compete with some people, and also say we should start complaining nonstop like the Sub-Zero players. Oh man, I can't go down to that level, but you're not wrong. I mean, buff Quan, right? I was surprised he didn't get anything, but he's he's kind of similar to what we were going over with Janet there, where like he puts the armor portal on the screen, and you're kind of like forced to stop playing the game for a while you wait for it to drain. Then he gets another bar and another armor portal out, and it's kind of rinse and repeat. I don't think it's a very effective gameplay style. It's just more annoying than anything, and there's hard counters to it.
It's really volatile, and it's really unique to him because of the armor portal, right? Which is why he can't play the game normally like other characters. But I don't know. At this point, we got to stop blaming the dogs for being a dog, right? How many times does the dog have to eat your steak off the counter before you just stop leaving it on the counter? That's how I feel about people that play obviously bad characters and continue to complain about the same things. Constructive things or trying to petition to get it changed or whatever is one thing, but you're in a match and you're doing something because you think it should work, but it doesn't work because you play Quan Chi and like getting mad about that.
That's why I don't play Quan Chi anymore, because I was starting to go down that route and be like, then you know what? This character's just not fun. He's just not a fun character for me to play. If you enjoy that kind of play style, like at first I tried to play him as more of a zoner, but there's a lot of anti-zoning stuff in this game, and like his zoning isn't that strong to warrant all of his other weaknesses. So then the more I realize, the more he's like really, really leans on that armor portal, and I'm like, that's not how I like to play. I don't like to play in your face unless I absolutely have to. I want to run away from you the whole time. So
right.
He's just kind of the pseudo rushdown gimmick, playing a completely different game than MK1 wants to play. And it's
cool. It's a cool idea. It just doesn't play the overall game very well,
Yeah, and that's 100% my thoughts too. It's just that the game itself is not really catered to that type of style of character. It's just kind of bad design, in my opinion.
What's like earlier this week we were talking about Tanya and some of her changes and stuff, just like in another Discord call, and I feel like the same way, right? She has to interact with you so many more times because her damage is so bad compared to other characters. So the idea of her, like, she has really good tools, and in the right hands, I think that any character can be any character. But overall, looking at laws of averages or whatever and existing in the bigger economy of the game, not like just in a vacuum, then she's kind of down there with them, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. It's when you have so many characters that can like one or two shot you or whatever, then you got Tanya and Quan who have to hit you like a billion different times. I think it was Drummer.
But sometimes they can do that, right? We've all fought a Tanya that just kills us one forward, two stagger at a time. Just chipping us away like you're dead before you know it, and just 100 damage at a time.
I remember trying to lab that as Quan, because like the forward 2-1-1 Mataro low shot was like basically a block infinite against him. And then, when I was playing labbing with Sector, and I was like, oh, there's an armor gap there. Well, maybe Quan can armor that. Nope. Skydrop, she recovers just in time to punish him for a full combo that you now can't break because you tried to armor it.
and that's -7, and so T1000 can, reversal punish that the way that Li Mei can. And the forward 2 is also -7 on block. So she literally, that's a commitment against those characters for sure.
There's a lot of characters that are just like hard counters against Quan because of things like that. Like Liu Kang. I played on Rips Arena for the first time yesterday, which was a cool experience. That was a lot of fun. I think I did well, but like I'm not playing Quan against Liu Kang. Like screw that. Those forward 4 staggers eat him alive. You can barely get a hit out. So
it's hard for him to challenge when they're all up on you nuts,
Yeah, with all these good fast mids and plus frames and barely negative things. So like there's a lot of just hard counters to him that just make him not very fun. So we'll see. I don't really expect any changes. Who knows if another patch is even coming at this point, but time will tell. We'll see if they add anything to young Quan. But you did touch on the T1000 there, which I thought we should go over because it's been a week and a bit now since he's been released. And there's a lot of people. First off, I want to say that the first thing that I saw people kind of complaining about was that he had that 7-frame reversal. And at first I was like, well, Li Mei's had that this entire time. Like, why are we just complaining about this now? And even hers can combo into Scorpion stuff or whatever. But then I saw that like it's like got some range to it. Like it's a rangy boy. So you're doing 7-frame punishes from like 3/4 screen that go into Movado that get you like full combos. And I'm like, okay, that's on a different level than what Lee May is doing. She's not quite doing that.
Not only that, if you take that 7-frame reversal away from both characters and look at like what remains, he's clearly a stronger character than her as well, because he has way more than just a 7-frame reversal. Like he is, at least as we understand it right now, he's a very, very powerful character. Like what you would expect from the old trope of overbuffing a DLC character to boost health. I'm not saying that's what they're doing, right? I'm not looking to get on any blacklists or whatever, but he's not like Peacemaker levels of broke or Homelander levels of bugged and broke at the same time. But he is very strong, and he's fun. Like he's another really well designed character like Ghostface that has a really cool ebb and flow. The way you connect your combos and all of that, super fun, really popular. Every stream I click on, they're usually playing that character.
Yeah, I fought a couple.
Lots already in rips and stuff.
I fought a couple in Combat League, and I had some success in zoning, especially with Sector, because I'm in the air most of the time, and he can't do his ground shenanigans on me. So, like, that felt kind of nice. But, like, once you get up close, there's, like, mix, there's command grabs, there's everything that he does that can open you up combos. Like, is just a complete character. And he has so many tools to avoid zoning too, like his little blobby thing, and he's got a walk forward gunshots.
He has some evasion and a little bit of zoning himself, and he has really, really good range. He got hot fixed, which I think that everyone saw coming with his standing 2/4 string that had all that cancel advantage and hit advantage. So you could cancel standing 1 into the Cyrax self-destruct and still continue your combo and get the explosion in the middle of your combo. With the combination of the cancel advantage and the hit advantage. So that got hot fixed, but that was definitely too much. That seemed like an oversight.
There were 2 things that were changed that I know of in that hot fix. Maybe someone else can let me know if I'm missing one, but Katana's damage nerf got reverted.
Right.
So she's back to doing the damage that she was before, which was interesting because, like, Katana players after that were like, okay, well, I mean, you're going to see just the same combo route. So now she's back to having all her different combo routes. So seems like an unintended
And Sindel's still nerfed, and Rain still shadow buffed. They buffed that air string of his that everyone's super happy about, and that remains intact, I'm pretty sure.
Right. Yeah, that's... Side note, that's one of the few matches I do like playing as Quan Chi, is Rain, because, like, his anti-projectile bubble just gets shredded by the purple skulls. And he's pretty. And
he has slower zone. He has slower zoning, and not like really counter zoning. He doesn't have any like teleports and dumb shit like that.
Now I haven't played any Rain since the most recent update, so maybe that's changed, but I don't really see it changing. Anyways, I
guess he's got the little doorway thing. That doesn't really count as a teleport, does it? That requires setup and stuff.
Yeah, I don't. Not a viable one anyway. Not like a React teleport kind of a deal. So
right.
But anyways, back to T1000. So yeah, the few that I've played in Combat League, one thing I did notice is he has that restand, which is like 3 characters in a row now that they've given 3 DLC in a row with a restand, which is an odd thing that they want to give them. But I mean, I guess they have them now, so there's that, which opens up the opportunity for all sorts of cameo craziness. I haven't messed around with them at all. I don't know. Have you played? I'm assuming that you have kind of messed around with him a little bit, Hater?
Just a teeny bit. He's not really my thing, but I've watched a bunch of it. Like I can do a couple like B&Bs. He looks like a really, really strong character. And having a restand in these sorts of games is always really good. Like that's a huge advantage.
Yeah, that's like a really good synergy pairing for Shujinko because he gets so many different combo starters and launchers off of that kind of stuff. So
if you've got enough hit advantage off of it, they can't armor or anything either. They're forced to take whatever you're going to do. Depending on what you're trying to gel, right? But you can definitely make it unarmorable, like something that they're just absolutely forced to block.
Yeah. Which when you have like launching command grabs and overheads and lows is kind of strong. Not gonna lie.
He's got the command grab in that string. He does have the coolest back throw animation in the whole game.
I agree. I hard agree. That is so cool. Props to whoever came up with that one. That was absolutely top tier.
Yeah, it's another one of those movie nods, like their spin on it anyway. Just what a cool way to incorporate it, like into his back throw. Looks so sick.
I will say that of all the guest characters that they've done, I think T1000 is probably has the best way of making the most nods to the movie. For someone that didn't particularly enjoy the movie or really care about the character, the amount of creativity and ways that they're able to call back to that movie and that character,
Right.
super impressive. With like everything from moves to fatalities to brutalities to like when I saw the one where he transforms into whatever character that he's like fighting against and then just like stabs him through the head with, with his finger. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Your
that was
foster
so cool.
parents are dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. John Connor.
Oh,
It is cool, and it's kind of like a mashup, like that one fatality that's got like 3 references, kind of like in a row, like just in one scene, like sort of thing. It's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's his design is super cool. It's lost on me for the most part, but for anyone that was excited about this character, I think they did him really, really well. So
His palettes kind of suck. Like he kind of looks like a cyberpunk character, or he looks like a highway patrol officer, or he looks like he's helping some school kids cross the road. You know, he's got the reflector vest. Please don't hit me with your car. You know,
Speed Patrol.
I mean, I understand the whole thing being like a police officer and all that stuff, but I don't think that it's awesome. It's not like, fuck yeah, oh my god, he looks badass now.
He looks so
oh
cool.
yeah, I unlocked it finally. Like, that's what's kind of disappointing to the character to me. It's a little one-dimensional as far as like how, but you know, like what can you do with it? And we had similar criticisms with Homelander, right? But you know, what is he doing in the show that they can even base things off of? You know, he's burning some people's faces off and, you know, little grappling and little punches, but definitely no floating around kicking stuff.
No, definitely not. But I mean, for a character that stays in like one costume the entire movie, I mean, they did something with him, I guess. I would have liked to see it like more Mortal Kombat-sized, if that makes sense. You know, like maybe give him a palette that's like similar to like the Havoc, you know, Chaos Reigns gear with like a weird colorful mohawk or something, you know, something along those lines. I think would have been a little bit harder.
They really hit those out of the park, don't they? The mohawk ones, all those look good.
Yeah,
like literally none of them look good. Like zero. I can't think of a single one that I think looks good, and it's usually the mohawk that completely ruins it if it already doesn't look kind of like bad.
If it wasn't for the mohawk, I would say Melina's is probably the closest to being acceptable, just because it kind of works with the character. But man, that mohawk is so jarring.
That's how I fit the katana Chaos Realm palette. I think looks super sick. Other than the mohawk, and then there's all the ones from Melina's last season, which is all the chaos ones, right? All the other memes. Katana had one in there, and Johnny Cage's little pompadour mohawk, and Kenji's, and Liu Kang's little stubby mohawk. Dude, none of those look good in my opinion. I do not like a single one. Not to mention that all the palettes are like, you know, green and maroon.
Yeah, clashy kind of colors, but I guess that's like the theme, right? Chaos. It's all chaotic. Nothing matches. It's all clashy.
Right, but man, yeah, not for me. But again, different strokes. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. No, for sure. Not much more to go over on T1000 right now. I'm excited to see him. He's going to be legal for the online pro comp event, so it'll be interesting to see if he has that oomph that everyone's kind of talking about right now, or if it just kind of flops. So
yeah, he's too new, so he's banned for Texas Showdown, which is happening. It just ended, like, you know, 10 minutes before we started recording this.
Yeah, and we're gonna go over the kind of the top 8 that we watched and just the event in general in just a moment here. So just spoiler alerts if you haven't seen it or you don't want to know I'll make sure to have the timestamps this week of when we go into that. But before we do that, I just want to touch on Madame Bo really quick because I've seen some pretty cool stuff with her. Lots of damage, like big damage with those bottle throws. Holy man, some of the things like Reiko's like looping, jumping command grab into the bottle, which restands for some reason. Like that's the goofiest thing ever. But I mean, 600 and something damage is kind of nuts. I'm kind of disappointed that I'm not seeing the full spectrum of like her moveset, which is to be expected, to be honest, because like there's so much that she can do, but those bottle tosses are just so good. Like, and it's just like kind of like amplified Kano knives, you know? So it's kind of like boring to me that to see that kind of stuff. I would like to see more of like
are they mids or?
I think they are because they kind of arc. I think. I'm not sure though. I actually haven't.
And it's a little slow, right? Oh, sorry. Go finish your thought there.
I haven't really played around with her that much. I took her into practice mode and just went through kind of like her like inputs to see like what kind of things are doing, and then I was like, this cameo really isn't for me. She's cool. I love her addition. They putting her in was like, out of left field kind of a thing. But yeah, I don't really know much about her other than the tech that I've seen. So
I feel like the bottle toss is also like a good surrogate. Like if you like to use sector, like for your combos, like you see a bunch of smoke combos with like a sector missile right in the middle of it, or Scorpion one. Scorpion can go into the unblockable hell frames, and while you're stuck in that hit advantage, the missile hits you, and then you continue the combo from that hit advantage.
Right.
I think this is a better version of that. Like if you like that sort of thing, it's like way easier to set up, and Sub can just hit confirm into his regular ice ball and use that ambush for enough advantage for the ice ball to connect. Things like that. So it's very straightforward and it's like the Janet jump punches we were talking about. You're not going to see a lot of this other stuff because it's so efficient and so kind of like good at what it does.
Yeah, I would like to see someone who kind of goes out of their way to learn the other stuff and kind of how it works. Like I've seen a little bit of like her low slide into the punches or whatever. Like that's pretty cool, and like more of that, and like the monkey flips. That's actually the move that Shang steals when he's playing against her. Enhanced one launches, and I think it's minus 12 on block.
Okay.
Like that. That was actually I labbed that before I labbed Madame Bo. It's like, what does Shang steal from her? So that's kind of funny.
All those moves remind me of like the last wave of buffs that Goro got. You get the little flash, and then you make a little sandwich with your cameo. Kind of like you just bouncing them back and forth, Sento style.
Sento style, but with Goro, Gorto,
or Madame Bo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same idea. I think. Does she have any mix in there? I don't know if she has any mix outside of the initial low. I think it's mostly mix.
I have no idea. I think that might be just more stuff to allow you to kind of extend combos or get some unique interactions. Like I do my button and then special cancel, and then after my button knocks them up, Madame Bo hits them with whatever she's doing, and in the meantime my special comes out, which extends that even further, and it's just kind of like back and forth sort of thing between you and the cameo. Right. But you're kind of doing your specials in between.
So she looks cool. I'd like to. I'm probably gonna mess around with a little bit of the drinks with her and see kind of like how powerful those types of things are, because that movement range is crazy, and those like you can kind of like dash cancel your moves and like gives everybody cancel combos. That's actually pretty nuts. Wonder what sauce I could find with Quan in that team. Maybe I put some effort into that.
I like her brutal too. Her forward throw brutal is cool. These nice simple cameo fatalities they give them, and she just breaks that bottle over your face and stabs you in the neck with it.
I feel like that's a reference to something, but I don't know. Maybe like an old movie or something like that. But that's probably a pretty generic way of people being killed off in movies. So maybe I'm overthinking.
Right.
Can't get over the fatal blow though, or just taking off her shoe and just breaking your jaw with it.
Dude, knocking your teeth out. Ouch.
Knock your teeth out with a swift backhand, like you forgot to take the garbage out or something,
See, I mean, that's one that like looks really painful, and like the whole effect outside of like the humor of it happening with the shoe, right? But the animation itself, like compared to the ghost's face where he stabs you in the hand and like slices it out, like that one still makes me like wince every time. That's a little much.
I have to look away on that one. That one, I can't do it unless it's against T1000, because that's just obviously not that same effect. Right. But So that's Madame Bo. Our kind of thoughts on T1000, Madame Bo. I want to get into this Texas Showdown now because it's fresh on our brains. We watched the pools yesterday, then we watched Top 8 today. I've got the bracket up in front of me just for recollection purposes. But one thing I do want to mention yesterday that I saw was Rattlehead playing on stream, and like something that I've never actually seen before, like getting set up to actually play, was how many different menu options you could change to make it more accessible for him to play the game. And it just didn't really hit until I saw that screen and they showed him like setting up all the speech and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, man, NRS really knocked it out of the park with accessibility for this game. And it's just one of those things that's just, I feel a little underappreciated. You know, there's a lot of things that you can critique this game on, I think, but I think for something like that, they absolutely nailed it.
I think Rattlehead may have even been involved in some of the feedback, the early feedback, to make that even like better. But yeah, NRS definitely goes above and beyond for that sort of thing. It's obviously something that's important for them, and they're very receptive to feedback from that community to try to make that the best that it can be. So there is a lot of stuff in there. If you want to go in and dabble, there's like a million options, and I think it's a good, if you have not done that, the royal you, if you have not done that or tried that, it's worth doing and go into practice mode and you kind of see how they experience the game. Just with audio cues, you need to tell like when, somebody's blocking or their feet aren't on the ground or, whatever it may be. Isn't there like also like proximity beeping? So, you know, the spacing.
Yeah, there is. So like, that's cool too. And like, just the way that Aquaman was talking about like how the meta is different for the blind players. Like when they play each other, there's like different metas of like making sounds to like try and trick people into thinking that you're in places that you're not even in. Like, stuff like that is just so cool. Like they're playing a completely different game over there. It's actually kind of nuts. But the fact that you can make a video game that someone who's completely blind can still play at a competitive level is just, I don't know. Technology is amazing sometimes. Blows me away. Absolutely blows me away.
Yeah, shoutouts to Rattlehead. He's a Twitch streamer too.
Yeah.
This is the first time you've heard his name.
Check him out on Twitch. Streams quite often. He's also in a band as well. They've actually done like promo material for NRS before. There's a couple songs.
Yeah, he drums, right?
Yeah, he's a drummer. So there's a couple songs. I think there was one when MK11 came out that they did, and they've had a couple of their songs just started. I think the band's called. A couple of their songs featured on pro league comps and that kind of thing. So kind of cool.
Wait.
In pools, I saw a fairly good kind of round out of characters. I remember seeing a sub Darius at one point. That was kind of cool, seeing like the mix in the corner.
That was the only sub I saw. I didn't get to watch all pools yesterday. That was the only time I saw Sub-Zero was that sub Darius, and that was, we have a resident Sub-Zero Darius team main around the Discord, so I think we're all pretty familiar with that blender. Yeah,
with how it works, and I didn't really see them using like the little Darius twirly arm things. But yeah, I don't really see that used ever. I know that last hit can be flawless blocked for a full combo punish.
It sure can.
I don't think I've seen anybody outside of the Discord do that, though.
I think it's always an input error.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. Darius is cool. I hope we see more Darius, but he's just one of those things where it's like, why would you pick him when other cameos do similar things? Easier.
He's good at what he does. If you want to do something very specific, I feel like Darius is like in the same sort of tier or categorization is probably a better word than tier as I'd put like Frost, like very, very good at like what they do and will fit your niche if that's how you want to play, but kind of outclassed by the better cameos in the game.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. It's you pick them because you want to do this. And Darius does a lot. He has mix, he can steal meter. He gives you jump combos, like he does a lot.
Fun to blockables, throw combos,
Yeah, all sorts of stuff. So I don't know. Hopefully we see more of him. Hopefully he sneaks his way into the meta. But I think far and away the cameo that took this event was Tremor. Almost probably 60%, I would say, of matches I saw had a tremor on one side or the other. And
he's definitely a super popular cameo right now. Since that last patch, he has a resurgence across a multitude of teams, not just the typical ones.
yeah, not just the Reikos or whatever and that kind of thing. He's
Sindel and yeah,
not just them anymore. He's kind of everywhere. And I didn't really see too much of that interactable a couple times when they use like the tremor interactable, but for the most part, he gives more combos. He has more mix now and a lot of safety. And that upper crust that he does has like 0 damage scaling. And I thought at first it was a bug, but then they still haven't fixed it. And we've had a patch and a hotfix, and it still remains the same. So
that combo we saw Just Nasty do that just kept going up and up. As soon as you thought it was at like 324, it's like, okay, this will end up like 410 or something. It gets to 410, and it just keeps going. And then he gets the uppercut. Like, we saw a few times where he started with an ambush, and the sequence went on so long he got the half a bar back to do a summon uppercut. Dude, doing like 550 damage combos, almost 600 damage combos.
Yeah, I think he ended it was like 554 or something like that. And we're just chuckling away in the Discord watching this, like, that's so much damage. How did he keep that going? That was,
Smoke is such a fun character to watch and not play against, but to watch. Yes. Like a really methodical Smoke. I feel like Just Nasty is definitely kind of he's definitely one of, if not the premier Smoke players. There's other, like Big Daddy G is an awesome Smoke. There's plenty of like good Smokes, but dude, those air dash cancels, all the cancels, he looks so cool in action.
Yeah, I definitely kind of agree with you. He's fun to watch more than he's fun to play against. But I mean, he's better now. That invisibility glitch that he had, that was the most annoying thing ever. Like having to fight an entire round of a Smoke being invisible. I hated that. So I'm glad they patched that out, which I was pretty sure they would. But I think he's in a good place. You know, one of the first pro events after, you know, big update, and here he is getting top 8. So hopefully we see more.
Right.
But you know,
and I don't like being on the receiving end of Smoke, but if you look at like what he is on paper and even, you know, dissect some of these matchups, he has counterplay. You just have to like pick your moment, and you have to have good reads and stuff. But they definitely had counterplay in mind when they were designing that character. Like when he's plus, he's like a Tekken character, right? When he's plus, it's all highs that you can duck, you know, and shit like that. Right. You know, like really considerate counterplay, like even with because he's got the string attached to his down 3, but it's still, you know,
yeah, I mean,
I don't know. It's just not super impressive. It's just, it sucks trying to like find that timing to take your turn when you're stuck in the flurry of Smoke doing Smoke things. And it's very stressful.
There's so many different ways he can do his cancels and start his cancels. And he has like mix, but it's like pseudo mix, like the 4-3-2, which is like low overhead, but you can up block the overhead. But then he cancels the 4-3 and throws you and gets extra damage because you're up blocking. Like
it's like a big mental stack, right? Like there's counterplay to everything, but he's kind of like overwhelms you with options, and you have to be ready when you see the flash that he is doing like a normal cancel. You just have to be ready to take your turn. And then when he starts mixing that sort of stuff up, when you're looking for that, it's like so overwhelming.
Yeah, like you said, mental stacks, overhead, lows, mids, air cancels, 4-3, which is all highs, but also super plus on block. So like, and he can cancel it now too from the air. So I mean, yeah, that character is something else. And it was really cool to see someone like Just Nasty, who I know has been playing him since day one, just really bring the full character out. It was really, really fun.
It was a good show. Good show.
Definitely good showing. I'm looking at the top 24 here. Dexy Dog, we saw Dexy play. Melina. And didn't see any of the Fatal Blow cancel goodness that I was excited to see. And Hater promptly told me that I think most of the Melina community thinks that's pretty garbo.
It's not, and I don't think it's had a super warm reception. I think there's a lot of excitement, and like I don't know. I don't have my finger super on the pulse. It's just kind of like what I see, like here and there, as people are like talking about it. But like I saw Hourglass of Rain, who's like, you know, the strongest Melina, if not like one of the strongest Melina players, saying like, it kind of sucks to say, but I don't think it's very good. So I don't know. I haven't messed around with it that much.
Yeah, I wonder if it's one of those things that's like a slow burn, because how many times has something come out and people immediately just like, oh, that's not good. Well, that's not great. And then we see one person have like a breakthrough of like doing something with it, and then everyone's like, oh, well, I didn't think you could do it like that, you know, and then everyone's using it.
And that's usually what it takes. I mean, that's a really common complaint about the life cycle of most NRS games that are only like a couple years. Like, it sometimes takes that long to figure some things out about the game, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
And then the life cycle's over by the time it's figured out. And that's what's kind of cool about the necro waves of NRS games that are playing the game. Like, you know, their meta's different. Their tier list is different. They're playing different characters sometimes. But it's definitely a different sort of experience.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like games like Injustice 2. That's probably the biggest one where like when I stopped playing that game, the meta was so much different than it was when I came back to that game years later, kind of between the MK11 and MK1 days. And all the necros are like, no, that guy's not top tier anymore. This guy's top tier. And, you know,
you see a lot more characters like Enchantress in the necro wave than you did in the original wave, you know?
Yeah,
she was not very common before MK11 came out.
Yeah, so like things like that. MKX is the same way. Crystalline Tremor was like the top tier when I kind of stopped paying attention, and then I go back and like he's like barely talked about in the top 10, so it's like that's kind of weird to me. But it'll be interesting to see how MK1 shapes up, because you have the characters and the cameos, right? So we'll look back on this couple years down the road and see who's
that's where Darius will be shining.
Yeah, he'll be the necro cameo. We're calling it now. At one time
they're going to be doing sector things we never even thought of, right? And it's hard to step outside of that hive mind and try to be independent of, because, you know, there is a lot of things that get kind of like fleshed out and optimized like really early, and it takes a certain sort of player to think outside that box and try to do different things, maybe not for more damage, but setups or other sorts of things, but to kind of get out of that, you know, this is what the B&B is, or this is what I do in this situation. Right. That is just, you know, it's what everyone's doing because it's like really effective, but there's definitely alternatives just hiding under there. It's just a matter of exploration.
Exploration, exactly. Try new things, and maybe you find a new setup, maybe you don't. Who knows? That's how metas are made, right? Out of all the pools that we watched, I think we saw one Sindel Tremor. I don't even remember who it was. So a couple nerfs to her. I don't know if that was game breaking enough, because I know Sonic Fox did play her in the last finals, and in this one saw a completely new character. Something.
Yeah, kind of discovered and settled on the Cyrax thing in the meantime.
And man, does that. Yeah, they always say that they found something and they're like, oh, this is so broke, this is so broke, this is so broke. And it's like, sometimes it's like a nothing comes of it kind of a thing, but this was not that. This was something that was infuriating to watch, like knowing what that player is going through. Like, you almost felt bad in some situations for like these scenarios that you're forced to hold like 4 or 5 sequences of set play, and then you get hit, and there goes all your meter, all the meter that you can't break. You had meter stealing Serena with a meter stealing net, like double stacked. That was pretty insane.
That is nasty, and I've been a proponent of that and talking about that since the DLC came out. That was like my first thought when I saw that net draining meter. But Serena's kind of one of those afterthought cameos at this point, and when people do use Serena, she's a gumball machine only. Instead, it's for Kia's blades, you know?
Right.
It was so refreshing, despite how kind of like, oh, Cyrax doing Cyrax things, which is cool, but it's just, dude, it goes on for so long. Yeah. It was cool seeing Serena used as a utility cameo and not just Kia's blades, you know, slingshot. Seeing the blessings and the curse and the blessing.
Yeah, both of them.
So not even double stacking the meter, only when they needed to use it. Otherwise, using the damage buff and meter gain, the blessing that they gave her a couple patches ago.
It was kind of the opposite that I was saying about the Madame Bo thing. Is like, here's Sonic using the complete cameo, like using all the meter drain, the meter build, the little pea shooter in the kind of the neutral, just to kind of check, you know.
And using that hit advantage to teleport and things like that.
So smart, like just next level stuff. And I think I didn't really see the Kia's blades used at all until the very final set, when I think they kind of forced to mix it up a little bit, and with the command grab.
I never saw it in neutral until that very final set. The only time you ever saw it was as the special cancel from the command grab, just as a combo starter. But half the time, the grab was pulling somebody into a grenade, or it was getting teched or ducked or something like that. So didn't even see it in that many situations.
Which was just goes to show the caliber of player that Sonic Fox is. That's why they took it and just put a character on the map. I'm not excited to fight all of these Cyrax arenas in Combat League now, because this happens every single tournament, It'll
happen every single time. And it's cool to see, like I said, Serena used in a different way that's not outside of very specific character synergies like Ashra and, things like that. But in a game where ambushes are king, because they can give you throw combos and armor launchers and things like that. Cyrax does get a throw combo with literally any cameo. But so Cyrax has the luxury to use Serena in a different way. So you love to see it. I'd love that aspect of it. And I hope that starts to set like a precedent and get people thinking about different things. But we'll see.
Serena is such a sick cameo too.
She's awesome.
Just her design in this game is so cool. I think the story of this tournament, though, was online Kale, because here's this kid that's been killing it for his the game's entire life. I don't know if he played MK11. I never heard of him until MK1. Maybe towards the end.
He's only 15, so
yeah, he's just a. What was cool though is his dad, Online Tony, who I knew from the MK9 days. Won Street Fighter 4 just before Mortal Kombat started. So like that was a pretty cool thing. But yeah, this is his first offline event. There was so much hype between like him and Sonic, and like who's gonna take who, and they've managed to dodge each other online, and here's they're finally meeting offline. So like that was cool. And like he didn't have the easiest path. Like he even in his pool like Victor
he beat
Freeze,
some really good players.
Yo AJ, Burrito Voorhees, and then all the way up till top 24.
He's the one that sent Han Rashid to losers, I think.
No, that was Dialogue actually.
Oh, okay.
He sent
Dialogue was also a beast.
Busman to losers.
Okay.
And then he finally met the Fox and got promptly 3-0'd.
He made it. Made it into top 8 winner side, and that was his first loss, was to Sonic Fox.
And that's saying a lot. If your first loss in a tournament is to Sonic in top 8, like that in itself is a good showing.
It wasn't even close.
No, and I think the reverse 3-0 over Gur in losers was that was peak hype. Like picking. Going down 2-0, switching to Kung Lao, playing a completely different character when he's been going Homelander the entire tournament. And with a character that a lot of people say is on the lower end of the spectrum, like Kung Lao, a little bit of weaker neutral, but couldn't tell you that watching Kale play, let me tell you. It's
what you were just saying about expecting to see all the Cyraxes and Serenas in Combat League. Like online Kale made me want to play Kung Lao. Like kind of, I've played with him a little bit on the side, but maybe it's like, maybe I should look in that character again. It's been a minute, since I pressed some buttons with Kung Lao.
Yeah, and who knows? Now maybe we'll see a bunch of Kung Lao sectors, and I've ran into a few. Like usually when I do see Kung Lao, I see sector with them. So I mean, we'll see if that kind of gets amplified by this. But man, what a run! Ended up third, going down to Dialogue. But yeah, third in your first offline event at a pro competition event is absolutely insane. I think this kid, if he sticks with it, he's got a really, really bright future in fighting games. So all of his matches super entertaining to watch. Did a really good job of keeping those fundamentals going. opening up, neutral, all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to see where it goes from there. And then lastly, the grand finals, we had Dialogue versus Sonic, and it kind of started looking like it was kind of going to go the way that we thought it was going to, but I don't know, something happened in Dialogue and just kind of went beast mode, and it just was opening up Sonic every chance that he got.
Yep.
It was
and then
crazy.
reset him.
Reset
Grand
the
finals
bracket.
reset.
And then Sonic said, "Okay, lock in. We're not playing around here." There's that tournament experience.
The first round from the first game after that reset was so decisive. Like, did Dialogue drop his controller? What's going on here?
Right.
That was, Sonic locked in. I'm a big fan of Dialogue. The combination of Dialogue's personality, who he is as like a player, and how General Shao is a catalyst for that. You can totally see his personality in his gameplay as expressed by General Shao. You know what I mean? It's
100%.
like such big dick energy. Like, it seems so scary. I feel like that it's super entertaining to watch. I love watching him play. There's a lot of attitude in his, like, I don't know, his decision. I don't know what it is about watching him play, but you can tell that it's him behind it. He's like one of those players you can tell when it's him playing Shao.
Yeah, it's to quote Hater, I think he said something along the lines of, he could teabag me and I wouldn't even be mad.
Right, yeah. He's the kind of,
part of his demeanor. Just of course he's teabagging me. Why wouldn't he,
Right.
That's so funny. But yeah, the steamroll kind of at the end there, what they call the Fox finish, so Sonic Fox takes another one, just staying at the top of things, Oddly enough, the twins were not part of this one, the Chilean twins. So it'll be interesting to see.
Travel.
No, they did not travel to this one. So it'll be interesting to see what happens if I'm assuming they would throw their names back in the hat. They would want that redemption from last season. So that's still that's a storyline that did not exist for this tournament. So we'll see how that shapes up going forward. But super interesting to watch. Good character diversity for sure.
I mean, without them there, we got to see some other names in top 8 and stuff too. Who do you think wouldn't have made top 8? Not to put anybody on blast or whatever, right? But if the twins were there, and assuming they both got top 8, which they probably would have, who would they have replaced in top 8?
If I had to take 2 out of it, I would probably say, well, it seems obvious because they're the first 2 eliminated and losers, but like Busman and Just Nasty, like, I think if the twins were there, those 2 wouldn't have been in there. But it's hard to say. Everyone played so good. Pulse is another one who's kind of been a bit of a hot and cold kind of a player. So
Pulse still on the Johnny Cage too. We don't see Johnny very much anymore. Not that I'm complaining, but
me neither. Keep that.
He was using Johnny Sub, which was cool. He was using Sub. I think he was using Sub-Zero specifically. He was fighting Gur, so he was using it for the Geras matchup because he didn't want to get snapped. He was using it after hit confirms to keep him from reversing time out of a combo. I didn't even know that it was immune to that until we were talking about in the Discord. I was like, why the hell is he hit confirming into the Sub-Zero armor? Like, what? But yeah, super smart gameplay. Total pleasure to watch. Gur's whole run, Gur's cat and mouse Geras is insanity. The amount of work he put in, which is like back 4 and forward 4 alone, just the overhead low, which have like similar spacing, and just keeping people out of his space. Super methodical, like very well thought out. He's a super good player, and it made for some really good matches. All of his opponents trying to adapt to that. Like Bustman, I feel like felt really helpless. Gur really shut him down with just those, with just big buttons, not even anything like super crazy, but just like shutting down any approach attempt.
Yeah, no, that's like the spacing and the runaway and like, taking a character who already has 950 health and pairing him with a cameo that takes like 50 more is actually crazy. But the way that Gur makes it work, it's nuts. Like, it's almost like he has more health in it because he's so good at breaking and getting his health back and managing he's always got that hourglass. It's always full. It's like every time I look at it, it's never empty. So he's just so good at that. So it's super entertaining to watch. It's makes for some really long matches sometimes. You know, there's if you're going to be a timer.
It's very cat and mouse, very hit and run. You know.
Yeah, hit you, get whatever I got, and then I'm out. No, chase me. I got the life lead. What are you going to do? So
EX clock for the charge again into Motaro teleport into full screen and let's fucking go.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. So really good run from Gur. I think he finished 4th. So happy to see it. Love Gur. He's an awesome dude. Known him for years. It's happy to see the homies succeed. So all in all, a really good event. Really set up some storylines for the rest of the pro comp. But we'll make sure to cover them as it happens. But I believe that's it for another week. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like. This really helps me out, and subscribe if you haven't, because I make new videos and new podcasts every single week. Hashtag Bonehawks, all that stuff. And we'll see all you Bonehawks in the next video.
Accept your death.